Malcolm-Jamal Warner.
Entertainment news. Malcolm-Jamal Warner has died.
Jamal Warner, dead at the age of 54.
Back, we have some very sad breaking entertainment news to share with you. TMZ is reporting that Malcolm-Jamal Warner, probably best known for his role on The Cosby Show, has died. People report that the 54-year-old was in Costa Rica on a family vacation and accidentally drowned while swimming.
The name came from our third host, Wayusi Baraka, and the reason for the title is combating the narrative of Black life, Black culture that the media focuses on.
Heartbreaking news about Malcolm-Jamal Warner's tragic death has left the internet in total shock. But now, shocking new details are surfacing, flipping the whole story on its head and making fans question everything we thought we knew. At first, reports painted it as some freak accident, but behind the scenes, whispers were growing louder. Malcolm's family had been quietly fighting to keep certain details from being buried, and now they've had enough of staying silent. Explosive new claims are coming forward, suggesting Malcolm didn't just pass away, he might have been targeted. And the timing, way too convenient to ignore. We're talking cryptic warnings he allegedly gave just days before everything went down. According to insiders, this wasn't some random tragedy. It looks calculated. The truth about what really happened is starting to bubble to the surface, and it could blow everything wide open. Malcolm-Jamal Warner's sudden death left everyone stunned.
It made me think of Black excellence in a different way, right? Like because Black excellence now is attributed to fame and money.
Never.
So that's been my issue.
Never for me.
With it. But now when I'm looking into the story, like Black survival in and of itself is Black excellence.
Because we've always had to supersede, do better, and more things have been put in our way to cross over.
And see, the thing about it, I don't ever look at it as a subset. I look at it as special. Because excellence, white people mediocre. Always have been. They don't have to try as hard. They don't have to, because somebody else will come clean it up. We've never had that luxury. We've always had to be twice, 10 times as good. So Black excellence is better. It's just what it is. We just put Black on it because it is. We've had to always be that. We've never, no matter what we've done, and even when we're better than them, they still will find a way to put somebody over us. That's just what it is.
Especially because there weren't any warning signs at all. The official story claimed he drowned while swimming at Clay Beach in Costa Rica during a family vacation. Sure, that beach is known for its rough waters and strong undercurrents, and reports say those dangerous conditions were present that very day. But now people are wondering if that's really the whole story. According to local authorities, bystanders did try to help when they saw Malcolm struggling in the water. But by the time Costa Rica's Red Cross arrived, it was already too late. He was found unresponsive and soon after declared dead. Police were quick to shut down any talk of foul play, calling it nothing more than a tragic accident. But here's where everything starts to get real shady. While the public was still reeling from the news, those closest to Malcolm were already questioning the story. Several sources claim his family never bought the official version. Allegedly, they've said key details just weren't adding up. And behind the scenes, they've been quietly pushing for answers because to them, it didn't feel like some random tragedy. It felt like there was way more to it. What's got people side-eyeing the whole situation even more is the total lack of evidence coming out. Clay Beach isn't some hidden, empty spot. It's a busy public area packed with tourists, locals, and beachgoers on any normal day. Yet somehow, not a single clear photo, video, or detailed eyewitness account has surfaced. That's setting off major alarm bells. Sure, most people agree it's wrong to film someone in their final moments. But in today's world, where everything gets recorded, it feels strange that absolutely nothing has leaked from such a crowded scene. In a perfect world, people would know when to put their phones down, but let's be real. When has the internet ever followed that rule, especially when a celebrity is involved? Whether it's shock, clout chasing, or plain curiosity, someone always ends up recording. So for there to be absolutely nothing, not even a blurry clip, a beachgoer's post, or a secondhand account of someone trying to save him, that's beyond strange. It's flat out suspicious. For Malcolm's fans and family, it's getting harder and harder to believe this was just some random tragic accident with no loose ends. And then comes another major red flag. There were 0 lifeguards on duty when Malcolm drowned. The Costa Rican authorities later admitted there weren't lifeguards that day because of resource issues. But here's the catch. They also confessed that this exact beach had been on their radar for years because of how dangerous it is. So why wasn't anyone patrolling that day? Why weren't there big warning signs saying it wasn't safe to swim? And right after the news broke, they suddenly announced that they were redirecting resources back to that same beach, and even another one notorious for strong currents. It's not hard to see why people aren't buying the official version of events. The timing and excuses just feel way too convenient. And the story of what actually happened that day, full of red flags. Reports are all over the place about how long Malcolm was in the water, how many people tried to save him, and exactly when emergency responders even showed up. These vague, conflicting details have only made the internet spiral with questions. If this was such a clear-cut accident, then why is the timeline such a mess to figure out? But what really sent people over the edge was the timing of Malcolm's death. Just 2 days before he drowned, he released what would end up being his final podcast episode titled Not All. In the episode you're about to hear, he got brutally honest about survival, Black identity, and what it takes to rise above painful stereotypes.
Your focus is on, and
that we're all one thing.
Yeah, and the whole concept is, we're not all hood. The Black community is not a monolith. There's so many levels and lanes to the Black community, and we wanted to have a space where we could acknowledge, discuss all of those lanes, because they're so varied in terms of our perspectives and our opinions and our ways of life, and we wanted to be able to have a place where we can talk about all of those things, discuss all of those things, and shed light on the not all hood aspects of who we are.
All right, and Candace.
There's one line in particular that's now haunting fans. Black survival in itself is. That message hits so differently now. For many, it doesn't just feel like a deep reflection anymore. It feels like a goodbye. Some even see it as a warning that maybe Malcolm already knew something was coming. A final statement he may not have known would be his last, or maybe he did. Either way, the timing feels way too suspicious to brush off, and now it's become a huge piece of the puzzle for everyone who refuses to believe this was just some random accident. But here's the part that really has people raising eyebrows. Malcolm wasn't just any celebrity. He had a reputation for speaking his mind, especially about race, power, and identity. In that podcast episode you're about to hear, he didn't hold back at all. And in another interview, he straight up called out how mainstream media twists the image of Black men, boxes them into stereotypes, and how exhausting it is to constantly survive while being silenced. That kind of raw honesty earned Malcolm deep respect, but it might have also made him a target. Now fans are connecting the dots, pointing to disturbing patterns, outspoken Black voices suddenly silenced, often under shady or unclear circumstances. And with Malcolm's sudden death, it's starting to feel way too familiar. In that same podcast episode, Malcolm even called out how the media endlessly recycles the same one-dimensional hood narrative. And now, people can't help but wonder if his truth-telling was too much for some to handle. Malcolm didn't hold back when he said that ignoring the depth and complexity of Black life isn't just lazy, it's dangerous. In that powerful snippet, he broke down how constantly showing only trauma and struggle feeds the same tired stereotypes that have boxed Black communities in for generations. But the part that really shook listeners was how he flipped the whole idea of Black excellence. Instead of tying it to fame, money, or status, Malcolm made it crystal clear that just surviving in a world determined to erase you is the real definition of excellence. His exact words, Black survival in itself is Black excellence. Now, with the timing of his death, that message feels way heavier than anyone ever expected. The fact that his final podcast dropped just 48 hours before he died has fans looking way deeper than before. To them, it doesn't feel like coincidence. It feels like a statement, maybe even a warning. and the whispers on the street are making it all feel even more unsettling. Word is, Malcolm's own family doesn't believe that podcast release was random at all. To them, it feels like he knew something, and that final episode might have been his way of speaking out one last time. Rumor has it Malcolm's family believes that final podcast episode wasn't just for his fans. It was a message aimed at certain powerful people who didn't like what he was saying. And if that's true, it raises a chilling question. Was Malcolm silenced because he refused to stay quiet? Things only get more suspicious from here. The lack of clear evidence from the scene is making people question everything. If this was just an accidental drowning, then why is there so much secrecy about what really happened? Fans keep asking the same questions over and over. Where's the transparency? Who was actually there? What exactly happened in those final moments? And now the story is heating up even more because whispers online claim Malcolm's family isn't buying the official version at all. Word is, they're even considering hiring a private investigator to retrace his last steps and uncover the truth no one seems willing to talk about. Reports say his family finds the entire situation beyond suspicious. The biggest detail making them side-eye the official story, the disturbing theory that Malcolm might have already been dead before he ever touched the water. While nothing is confirmed, sources allege his loved ones believe he could have been injected with some kind of slow-acting poison that only took effect once they reached the beach. That theory alone has set the internet on fire. And if there's even a shred of truth to it, this story could turn out to be way darker than anyone imagined. That theory would explain how Malcolm ended up in the water to begin with. But what makes this whole situation even more chilling is that his daughter was reportedly there when it happened. And now fans are connecting the dots to a much bigger pattern, one that seems to follow outspoken black voices who refuse to play by the rules. For years, people have talked about how powerful black figures who challenge the system often face sudden downfalls, career sabotage, or even worse. Fans have pointed to Nipsey Hussle, who was gunned down while fighting for black ownership, and even Dave Chappelle, who got dragged and ridiculed after walking away from a massive multi-million-dollar deal because he refused to be controlled. And then there's Martin Lawrence. Fans have long believed he was poisoned with something that triggered a terrifying mental breakdown. Back in May 1996, Martin was famously arrested after being spotted in the middle of a busy intersection in Sherman Oaks, California, holding a firearm and screaming at passing cars, shouting things like, "They're trying to kill me." One witness even claimed Martin yelled, "Fight, don't give up, fight the power," while officers were dragging him to the hospital. But the most suspicious part, the media wasted no time painting Martin as trouble, hinting he was probably on drugs. Yet the doctors who treated him at the hospital shut that rumor down fast, refusing to back up the drug narrative. It's these patterns, outspoken voices silenced or discredited, that have fans convinced Malcolm's death isn't as simple as it seems. The medical center's spokesperson, Ron Wise, even told reporters there was absolutely no substance of any type involved. So if drugs weren't the issue, and Martin himself was clearly terrified for his life, what was really going on? Who could have been after him? Fans have been asking those questions for decades, and the silence around it has never sat right. And now, people are drawing chilling parallels, because let's not forget, Angie Stone just passed away under strange circumstances too. What really raised eyebrows is that she was the only one who didn't survive that so-called tragic car accident. The entire situation feels way too familiar. And just like Malcolm, Angie had recently been calling out the industry and hinting that she was sitting on some serious dirt. Some even believe she knew way too much. Right before the accident, Angie posted something on Instagram that fans now see as her warning shot. She wrote, "I have just discovered something that's been hidden in the dark for too long. My publishing was stolen, and guess what? I know exactly who did it, but don't get it twisted. I'm coming for you. All the dogs who thought they could take what's mine, trust I'm ready." Just like Jamie Foxx said, what had happened was, well, now it's my turn to share my testimony. It's a new chapter, and you can bet the truth is coming to light. Stay tuned. Fans immediately took that as a direct threat aimed at powerful people behind the scenes, and then Just days later, she was gone. For many, that timing feels way too suspicious to be a coincidence. Whether it's pure coincidence or something far more sinister, people are definitely starting to connect the dots. More and more fans believe these random tragedies aren't random at all. They're part of a disturbing pattern that shows exactly what happens when someone refuses to play by the industry's rules. What makes Malcolm's case stand out even more is just how different his path was. Unlike so many former child stars, he didn't spiral out of control or chase cheap headlines. Instead, he kept his life low-key, stayed out of messy drama, and poured himself into meaningful work that actually mattered. As the years went on, Malcolm shifted from sitcoms to spoken word and began creating content that hit way deeper. He spoke openly about mass incarceration, cultural erasure, and what it really means to survive as a black man in America. It was never about staying relevant or clout. It was about telling the truth. And according to those closest to him, that is exactly what made him a threat. His family has been clear. They don't believe his death was just some tragic accident. Could it be that Malcolm's passing isn't an isolated event at all, but part of a much bigger, unsettling pattern? A pattern where outspoken black voices face sudden, suspicious tragedies the moment their influence starts shifting the culture in a real way. Malcolm wasn't out here chasing attention. He had a clean reputation, a growing platform, a powerful message, and decades of excellence as both an actor and a speaker. And for many, that's exactly why his sudden death feels just too convenient to ignore. Especially after that final podcast, fans believe Malcolm was right on the edge of something huge. And that's when everything suddenly went left. Now the big question remains, was this truly a tragic accident, or was Malcolm-Jamal Warner silenced just as his voice was getting too loud to ignore? His family isn't backing down. The haunting podcast, the messy timeline, the whispers about hiring a private investigator, none of it is fading away. And if there's one thing we've all learned, it's that when families start digging for the truth, the secrets don't stay buried for long. This doesn't feel like closure. It feels like a warning. And something tells us this story is far from over. RIP to Malcolm-Jamal Warner. Gone far too soon, but definitely not forgotten. Drop your thoughts below because this conversation is just getting started.